All right, so step one, and again, this is a little more specific to streamingchurch.tv. That's who we are. So this is going to be a little more specific to us, audio and video setup. So you've got your camera, your sound, and your connections. And by the way, let me just, well, I'll just go here. So cameras and lights. You're going to need that, and you're going to need the ability to have some decent lighting. And we'll talk about cameras, sound. And I always say this, but sound, audio, in my opinion, when it comes to streaming video, sound is just as important, if not really more important, to streaming video. And I'll tell you that in a moment. And then you want to be able to connect all those up, which we're going to show you in a moment. Here's what we have on our website that has to do with some options. We give people. We have a little FAQ on streamingchurch.tv's website, and we go over some things, some equipment. And here are some of the equipment. Now, please keep this in mind. This is just a sample. Almost any camera will work. Almost any camera will work. If you have any questions, you can contact us. But you can use something like the bare minimum. Now, Michael mentioned when we first started doing this years ago, we used Steve Lacy's consumer grade camcorder. I have it now. It's in my garage somewhere. Collecting dust. But I have it. I don't know why I got it, but I do. and it worked. It was workable. It worked. And you could still, and actually today, some of the webcams, not webcams, but some of the consumer grade camcorders are actually pretty good. And if you're just starting out, you can get a decent looking picture. And if your lighting's good and some of those things that we'll talk about, you can actually do fine with that, right, Mike?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're going to go there, but I think we should go ahead and jump. When you're talking about cameras, if your budget doesn't allow you to get a more expensive camera, Phil talked about sound, and I wholeheartedly agree. But with a camera, you can do two things. You can increase your lighting. More lighting will offset a lower quality camera, and then get the camera closer. The closer you can get the camera, the better the image quality is going to be. So right now during COVID, if you're doing this without a crowd, get that camera right up on top and get it really nice and tight on the speaker with great lights, and you can be in the better or minimum and still have a great image going out to the web.
That's really true. And we talked a lot about that, especially when people were in desperation during the pandemic. What do I do? What do I do? So there's some things you can do. And as look, as God provides, as things go on, you can improve your quality of all your equipment, including your cameras. And here's, you see the minimum, you see the better. But again, this Canon G20, it might be a little dated now, but there's some other ones out there that are around that price range, maybe a little more. And then you get a lot of people today talking about, hey, can I use a PTZ camera? And yes, you can. The PTZ cameras are actually, they're much better than they used to be. And the price we have on here, these all vary. There's different ones out there that cost a little less, cost a little more. I am kind of liking some of the PTZs that I've seen. Used to be they were herky-jerky when you tried to use the remote joystick to move them around, and they've gotten a little better in that sense. But again, almost any camera will work. I will say this, don't use a DSL camera. I would recommend against using a DSL camera. A DSL camera, at least my understanding of it is, it's one of those things you take out to you when you're going tourist and you're going sightseeing, and you can use them. They do have a video mode on them, but DSL cameras are not the best to use. You're better off using something like this.